Thank you, Chair. This really is for Lilli. Because of COVID, I think...
Well, the next question is on COVID, so just be careful.
Okay, but because of COVID, I think that there must be a question over how we can rely on the data during the period of COVID because of the different traffic levels.
Yes, I mean, absolutely concur with that. That COVID, had a very significant impact on how people travelled. I would say, and obviously we're tracking casualties by, they're impacted by the number of journeys that are made and the types of journeys. Just to highlight a couple of elements within that, I think would be particularly of interest to you. So in 2020, where there was a real retraction, we all remember between March and May, roads were empty. We obviously saw a very welcome general reduction in collisions. However, there was an increase in speed-related collisions because people used the empty roads to illegally speed and cause enormous road danger. And there was also, of course, and this is consistent with 2021 as well, because of the largely working at home arrangements, a lot of central London is much, much, much emptier than it would be. So we've seen a real significant fall, very grateful, welcome fall in pedestrian collisions. But that isn't necessarily the true picture of what London will hopefully look like when it gets up and running again. You have more pedestrian journeys. We're very conscious that those are unusual behaviours or patterns of travel. A further one that's quite significant is in 2021, thank goodness, we saw a real reduction in the number of people being killed on motorcycles. So tragically, 10 people were killed, but that's quite a reduction on previous years. And it seems that relates in particular to a reduction in people using large or being involved in collisions on large motorbikes, which would traditionally commute in longer distances from the southeast. And I think that, again, reflects the working from home period. So all is to say that is the top level figures, you really need to delve into them. And exactly as we say in the refresh report we've been saying this morning, this is a really dynamic and live picture, and we need to be really fleet of foot to respond to the risks as they arise. We don't ultimately know what travel behaviour patterns will settle back into post-pandemic. Working from home 2 or 3 days a week will actually potentially have impacts on the safety patterns that we see because people might be making more local journeys and they won't be making such longer journeys. So, that all has to be taken into account in terms of the actions we put in place. And it does, you're absolutely right, mean that there needs really careful interpretation of top-line figures.
Come back on the motorcycle thing. I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Assembly Member